Welcome to the Growth Room. Today we're exploring one of the most powerful productivity books ever written, The One Thing by Gary Keller and J. Papasan. In this audiobook summary, you'll discover why success isn't about doing more things, but about doing the right thing, and how extraordinary results come from extraordinary focus. Think about your average day. You wake up, check your phone, and are instantly hit with a tidal wave of emails, notifications, and tasks. Your to-do list seems to grow longer by the hour, and by the time evening rolls around, you are completely exhausted, yet you feel like you barely accomplished anything of real value. It's a frustrating, draining cycle that modern society calls being productive. But our authors, Gary Keller and J. Papasan, are here to pull back the curtain on this illusion. Gary Keller, the mastermind behind one of the largest real estate companies in the world, discovered through his own massive successes and painful failures that extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus. We live in a culture that worships the hustle. We are told that to achieve more, we have to do more, sleep less, and juggle 100 different responsibilities simultaneously. But this book flips that philosophy completely on its head. Success isn't a game of multitasking or frantic busyness. It is actually much simpler than most people think. It is about narrowing your concentration down to a single, high-impact point. When you look at the most successful people, businesses, and movements in human history, they all have one thing in common: an intense, almost fanatical devotion to one core thing that drove everything else. To visually understand how this works, think of a row of dominoes. A single, tiny domino that stands just 2 inches tall has enough energy to knock over another domino that is 50% larger than itself. If you line up a sequence of dominoes, where each one is 50% bigger than the last, by the time you reach the 23rd domino, you could knock down the Eiffel Tower. By the 57th domino, you're looking at a structure that could literally bridge the distance from the Earth to the Moon. This is the domino effect in action, and it is the exact blueprint for how extraordinary success is built in real life. The mistake most of us make is that we try to knock down the giant, monumental goals, the 57th domino, on day one. We look at our massive dreams, like starting a multi-million-dollar business, getting into peak physical shape, or mastering a highly complex skill, and we try to tackle the entire mountain all at once. When we inevitably get overwhelmed, we scatter our energy across dozens of minor tasks, essentially trying to tap 50 different tiny dominoes at the same time. Nothing falls over. Nothing moves. Extraordinary results require you to find that very first 2-inch domino in your life and dedicate all your energy to knocking it down. Once that first small action drops, it naturally creates a wave of momentum and consistency that makes the next, larger step infinitely easier to achieve. So, how we find this magical first domino? It all boils down to a single, masterfully crafted question that the authors call the focusing question. This isn't just a casual query you ask yourself when you feel like it. It is a precision tool designed to cut through the noise of your daily life and reveal your absolute highest priority. The question is this: what is the one thing I can do such that by doing it everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Let's break this down piece by piece, because every single word in this sentence serves a profound psychological and practical purpose. First, look at the phrase, "What is the one thing I can do?" Notice that it doesn't say could do or should do. Could implies an endless list of hypothetical possibilities, which leads to decision paralysis. Should introduces a heavy layer of guilt, forcing you to think about what other people expect of you. Can do is an action-oriented phrase grounded strictly in reality. It forces you to look at concrete actions that are completely within your immediate control right now. Furthermore, it explicitly asks for the one thing, not 2 or 3. It demands that you filter out the good options so you can uncover the single best option. Next, look at the engine of the question, such that by doing it, this creates a strict criteria for your action. It means you aren't just looking for a random task to tick off your to-do list so you can feel a cheap sense of accomplishment. It means you must find an action that is deliberately connected to a greater outcome. It requires an element of deep strategic thinking, ensuring that your immediate daily effort acts as a lever for your long-term vision. Finally, look at the ultimate destination of the question. Everything else will be easier or unnecessary. This is the core magic of the framework. Most productivity advice focuses on teaching you how to manage your time better, so you can fit more tasks into your day. The focusing question does the exact opposite. It aims to eliminate tasks entirely. When you find the correct first domino and knock it down, you discover that a dozen other secondary problems simply vanish, or they become so simple that they require almost zero effort to solve. To see how this works in the real world, imagine you are a manager dealing with a highly stressed, underperforming team. Your to-do list might tell you to schedule individual meetings, rewrite the company handbook, host a team-building lunch, and micromanage everyone's daily schedules. But if you step back and ask the focusing question, you might realize that the one thing you can do is hire a brilliant, highly capable assistant manager to handle the daily operations. By doing that one thing, managing the team suddenly becomes incredibly easy, and half the chaotic tasks on your old to-do list become entirely unnecessary. This framework is highly versatile, and you can apply it to every single area of your life, moving seamlessly from macro-level thinking to micro-level execution. You can use it for your grand, big-picture vision. What is the one thing I want to achieve in my career over the next 5 years? Once you have that answer, you pull it down to the present year. Based on my 5-year goal, what is the one thing I can do this year to stay on track? You can keep zooming into this month, this week, and right down to this exact horizontal moment. What is the one thing I can do right now to make everything else easier? By using this question as a daily compass, you shift your mindset away from a scattered to-do list mentality and move toward a hyper-focused success list mentality. A to-do list is simply a chaotic survival bucket of everything you think you need to get done, where every item is treated with equal importance. A success list is a highly curated, sequential map of dominoes, where you consciously choose to ignore 99% of distractions so that you can bring total, absolute mastery to the single task that truly matters. Now that we understand the incredible power of the domino effect and the focusing question, we have to look at why so few people actually live this way. The reality is that we've been conditioned to fail. From a young age, society feeds us a steady diet of cultural myths about achievement. The authors call these the lies that mislead and derail success. These are 6 deeply embedded beliefs that sound like good advice on the surface, but are actually total productivity traps. If you want to unlock extraordinary results, you have to systematically dismantle these lies, starting with the biggest one of all, the lie that everything matters equally. Think about how most people start their workday. They open up a blank document or look at a massive, sprawling to-do list. The human brain naturally likes to feel accomplished. So what do? We look for the easiest, lowest hanging fruit. We reply to a couple of casual emails, clean our desks, or organize our desktop files. We cross those items off, get a quick hit of dopamine, and tell ourselves we're having a highly productive morning. But equality is a massive illusion. In the world of achievement, things are never equal. True productivity relies heavily on the famous Pareto principle, commonly known as the 80-20 rule. This principle states that roughly 80% of your desired results will always come from just 20% of your total efforts. This isn't just a neat theory. It's a fundamental law of nature and business. In any business, about 80% of profits come from 20% of the customers. In your personal life, 80% of your fulfillment comes from 20% of your relationships. The mistake we make is treating our to-do list like a democracy where every task gets an equal vote. It doesn't. Extreme success requires you to take that top 20% and apply the rule again and again until you narrow it down to the vital few, the single highest impact task that acts as your first domino. Everything else is just a distraction dressed up as work. This brings us directly to the second major lie, the myth of multitasking. We wear multitasking like a badge of honor. We boast about our ability to write a report while sitting in a Zoom meeting, checking text messages, and eating lunch. But cognitive science has proven over and over again that the human brain cannot consciously focus on two complex tasks at the exact same time. What you're actually doing is not multitasking. It's a process researchers call task switching. Your brain is rapidly jumping its attention back and forth between different activities, like a ping pong ball. Every single time you switch your focus from writing an important proposal to reading a new Slack notification, your brain pays a heavy price known as a switch cost. You lose momentum, you drop your train of thought, and you waste valuable cognitive energy just trying to reorient yourself to the original task. Studies show that workers distracted by constant emails and phone calls experience a temporary drop in IQ that is twice as severe as the impact of smoking marijuana. Single tasking isn't an old-fashioned way of working. It is the ultimate competitive advantage in a world full of fractured attention. The third myth we need to bust is the lie of a disciplined life. When we see ultra-successful people like elite athletes, world-class musicians, or highly wealthy entrepreneurs, we often assume they possess a superhuman level of discipline. We think they must spend every waking second forcing themselves through sheer grit to do things they hate. But the truth is far more liberating. You do not need an overwhelming amount of discipline to be successful. You only need just enough discipline to form a powerful habit. Think of discipline as a temporary tool used to build an automated system. Success is actually a result of habits, not constant, grueling willpower. When you consciously apply discipline to lock in a single positive habit, that behavior eventually becomes automatic. It becomes part of who you are, requiring almost zero mental effort to maintain. The authors point out that it takes an average of 66 days to firmly establish a new habit. Instead of trying to revolutionize your entire life overnight with massive self-control, focus your limited discipline on building just one life-changing habit at a time. Once it's locked in, you can use your freed-up energy to build the next one. This leads directly into the fourth lie, the belief that willpower is always available on tap. We like to think our willpower is an unyielding character trait, that if we are strong-willed, we can deploy it whenever we want. But science shows that willpower is actually a highly finite, depleting physical resource. It is like the battery on your smartphone. When you wake up in the morning after a good night's sleep, your willpower battery is at a full 100%. But here is the catch. Every single decision you make drains that battery. Choosing what to wear, resisting the urge to snap at a coworker, ignoring a plate of donuts in the break room, and filtering out background noise all sap your mental energy. By the time late afternoon rolls around, your willpower battery is running on empty. This is why people tend to break their diets at night, procrastinate on their biggest goals after 4 p.m., and make terrible financial decisions late in the day. To counter this, you must learn to time your most important work perfectly. You cannot leave your one thing for the end of the day when your mind is drained. You must tackle your highest impact task first thing in the morning when your willpower battery is fully charged. The fifth lie we must confront is the modern obsession with a perfectly balanced life. We are constantly bombarded with advice telling us to achieve total harmony across our work, family, health, hobbies, and finances all at once. But Keller and Papasan argue that a perfectly balanced life is a myth. It's an impossible ideal that leads to mediocrity across the board. Extraordinary results require extraordinary time and attention, which naturally pulls you out of balance. Instead of striving for an unrealistic, static balance, the authors advocate for a concept called counterbalancing. Think of it like walking on a tightrope. You don't stand perfectly still. You constantly lean slightly to the left, then slightly to the right to keep moving forward. In your professional life, you have to be willing to go out of balance for extended periods to achieve a major breakthrough. You have to dive deep into your projects. However, in your personal life, like your health and your family, you cannot leave things out of balance for too long without serious consequences. Counterbalancing means knowing when to give your absolute all to your work and then consciously swinging back to nurture your personal life before any lasting damage is done. Finally, we have the sixth lie, the idea that big is bad. We are often conditioned to fear massive success or big ambitions. We tell ourselves that thinking too big leads to immense stress, loneliness, or failure, so we play small to stay safe. But playing small is a disservice to your potential. Thinking big isn't about being greedy or arrogant. It's about expanding your horizons and asking better questions. If you aim to make $10,000 this year, your brain will look for specific, small actions to hit that target. If you aim to make $1 million, your brain is forced to think on a completely different scale, looking for massive leverage and entirely new ways of operating. Do not fear big outcomes. Fear a small life lived well below your true capabilities. Now that we have stripped away the cultural myths holding us back, we can step firmly into part 2 of our journey, the truth. This is where we look at how to build a highly productive, purpose-driven life from the ground up. To achieve extraordinary results, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan lay out a clear, inverted pyramid framework that connects 3 critical concepts: purpose, priority, and productivity. Most people try to look at productivity as an isolated set of hacks. They buy a new planner, download a fancy time-tracking app, or try a new morning routine, hoping it will magically change their lives. But productivity doesn't exist in a vacuum. True, effortless productivity is actually the direct mathematical byproduct of your clarity of purpose and your strict commitment to priority. Think of it like an iceberg. Productivity is the small tip visible above the water. It's what people see you doing. Priority is the thick middle section just beneath the surface that guides your daily choices. And purpose is the massive, solid foundation at the very bottom that holds everything up. Without a deep sense of purpose, your priorities will shift with the wind, and your productivity will eventually fizzle out into burnout. Let's look closely at the foundation. Purpose. Discovering your purpose sounds like an overwhelming, philosophical task, but the authors simplify it beautifully. Your purpose is not some hidden, mystical secret you have to spend decades searching for. It is simply the answer to a foundational question. What is the ultimate driving force behind what I want my life to achieve? Your purpose is your ultimate why. It is the emotional engine that keeps you moving forward when things get incredibly difficult, boring, or exhausting. When you know your purpose, your path becomes laser-focused. Take a moment to think about major innovators like Elon Musk or historical figures like Martin Luther King Jr. They didn't wake up every day wondering what they should care about. Their profound sense of purpose acted as an absolute North Star, automatically filtering out 99% of life's daily distractions. When you have a clear purpose, you no longer have to spend precious mental energy debating whether to work on your goals or scroll mindlessly on social media. Your purpose pulls you forward naturally. But purpose alone isn't enough to change your daily reality. To make it actionable, you must instantly connect your long-term purpose to a present moment priority. This is where many people fail. They have a big dream of where they want to be in 10 years, but they have no idea what they should be doing at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon to make that dream come true. The authors solve this by teaching us a highly strategic process called goal setting to the now. This is an exercise where you systematically break down your massive, ultimate future vision into a sequence of small, highly manageable stepping stones. You start by identifying your someday goal. Someday, what is the one thing I want to accomplish? From there, you immediately look backward and ask, based on my someday goal, what is the one thing I can do in the next 5 years to stay on track? You don't stop there. You take that 5-year milestone and ask, based on my 5-year goal, what is the one thing I must achieve this year? Then you break it down further. Based on my yearly goal, what is the one thing I need to do this month, this week, today? And finally, you bring it into the exact horizontal present. Based on my goal for today, what is the one thing I can do right now? Can you see how beautiful and empowering this framework is? By running your ambitions through this mental filter, you create a direct, unbreakable chain of cause and effect. Your immediate, present moment action is no longer just a random, isolated task on a daily checklist. It is the vital first domino that is directly linked to your ultimate life's purpose. You're no longer guessing what to do next. You have complete, unshakable certainty that what you are working on right now is the absolute best use of your finite time on this planet. This brings us to the top of the iceberg, productivity. Once you know your ultimate purpose and you have identified your immediate priority through goal setting to the now, you have to actually execute. And the single most effective tool for executing your highest priority is a practice called time blocking. Time blocking is not just writing an appointment in your calendar. It is a profound behavioral commitment. It means taking a massive, uninterrupted chunk of your day, ideally a minimum of 4 hours, and dedicating it solely and exclusively to your one thing. During this block, you completely step away from the rest of the world. You do not check your inbox. You do not answer casual phone calls. You do not pop over to a coworker's desk, and you do not handle minor administrative chores. You treat this time block with the exact same level of respect and urgency as you would an elite, high-stakes meeting with a world leader. If someone tries to interrupt you, your default answer must be a polite but firm, "No, I'm unavailable right now." Why is time blocking so radically effective? Because it allows you to enter a psychological state known as deep work or flow. This is the peak state of human performance where your brain stops processing background noise and channels 100% of its cognitive horsepower into the problem right in front of you. It takes an average person about 20 minutes to fully immerse themselves into a complex task. If you allow yourself to be interrupted by a quick text message or a minor question every 15 minutes, you never actually reach this deep state of concentration. You spend your entire day skim reading the surface of your potential. The authors strongly recommend that you place your time block as early in the morning as humanly possible. Why? Because as we discussed earlier, your willpower battery is at its absolute peak when you first wake up. Furthermore, the rest of the world hasn't fully woken up yet to bombard you with demands, emergencies, and distractions. If you can successfully protect the first 4 hours of your workday to focus exclusively on your first domino, it doesn't matter what happens during the remaining hours of the day. Even if the rest of your afternoon descends into total organizational chaos, minor fires, and endless meetings, you can head home with absolute peace of mind, knowing that you successfully move the needle on what matters most. Extraordinary results are built by stacking these highly productive, uninterrupted mornings day after day, week after week. Now that we understand the strategic connection between purpose, priority, and productivity, we need to look at what it takes to sustain this high level of performance over the long haul. In part 3 of our journey, Gary Keller and J. Papasan introduce the 3 commitments that separate those who merely dream of success from those who actually achieve extraordinary results. These aren't just mindset shifts. They are daily operational rules you must adopt to protect your time block and dominate your chosen field. The first commitment is to follow the path of mastery. Mastery is a word that often intimidates people because we tend to think of it as a final, distant destination, a status reserved only for elite geniuses. But the authors redefine mastery as a continuous, lifelong journey. It is the commitment to giving your absolute best to your one thing, constantly seeking ways to improve, refine, and optimize your skills. When you commit to mastery, your entire relationship with your work changes. You stop looking for quick shortcuts or superficial hacks. Instead, you fall in love with the process of getting better. You realize that doing your one thing isn't a chore, it's an art form. Whether you're learning to code, writing a novel, or building a sales pipeline, mastery means showing up every single day during your time block to practice deliberately, push past your comfort zone, and hone your craft. The second commitment is moving from E to P. This is one of the most practical frameworks in the entire book. E stands for entrepreneurial, and P stands for purposeful. Most people approach their work with an entrepreneurial mindset. They rely entirely on their natural energy, enthusiasm, and innate talent. When they take on a new task or job, they quickly hit a natural ceiling of achievement based on their current skill set. Once they hit this ceiling, they plateau. They work harder, clock more hours, and run faster, but they can't seem to break through. They get highly frustrated and eventually assume they've hit their absolute limit. A purposeful person approaches the exact same ceiling completely differently. When a purposeful individual hits a wall, they don't just try to smash their head against it harder. They step back and ask, what new system, model, or relationship do I need to break through this ceiling? Moving from E to P means trading your natural limitations for a highly structured, deliberate strategy. It means being willing to learn new ways of thinking, adopting better frameworks, and actively seeking out mentors or proven systems that can lift you to the next level. It's about working smarter by design, rather than just working harder by default. The third and final commitment is to be accountable. There are two types of people in this world: victims and authors. When things go wrong, a victim immediately looks outward to place blame. They blame the economy, their boss, their lack of time, or their bad luck. They treat themselves as passive bystanders in their own lives, which leaves them completely powerless to change their outcomes. An accountable person acts as the absolute author of their life. They take 100% ownership of their results, both the good and the bad. If they miss a deadline, fail to protect their time block, or fall short of a goal, they look in the mirror and ask, what did I do to cause this, and what can I do right now to fix it? The authors point out that having a formal accountability partner, whether it's a professional coach, a trusted colleague, or a mentor, instantly increases your chances of achieving your goals by an astonishing margin. When you have someone consistently holding your feet to the fire, you are far less likely to give in to excuses. But even with these three powerful commitments firmly in place, you are still going to face massive resistance. The moment you decide to focus heavily on your one thing, the rest of the world will seemingly conspire to pull you away from it. To survive this onslaught, you must learn to identify and defeat what the authors call the four thieves of productivity. These are insidious, everyday distractions that quietly rob you of your time, energy, and momentum. The first thief is the inability to say no. Every single time you say yes to a minor request, a casual meeting, or someone else's urgent emergency, you are automatically saying no to your own ultimate priority. Many of us suffer from a deep desire to please people, so we say yes to everything until our schedules are completely bloated. You must realize that saying no isn't selfish. It is a tactical necessity for success. You cannot protect your 4-hour time block if you are constantly opening the door to every passing whim. Learn to say no with grace, kindness, and absolute firmness. The second thief is the fear of chaos. When you fiercely lock your gaze onto your one thing and ignore everything else, a funny thing happens. The rest of your life will temporarily descend into a bit of a mess. Unread emails will stack up in your inbox. Minor administrative chores will be left undone, and small details will slip through cracks. This terrifies most people. They panic, abandon their high-impact focus, and rush to clean up the clutter. But extraordinary results require you to make peace with a little bit of chaos. You have to accept that you cannot keep everything perfectly tidy if you want to achieve something monumental. Trust that the chaos can wait while you knock down your most critical domino. The third thief is poor health habits. True productivity requires an immense amount of physical and mental energy. You cannot operate at a world-class level if you're running on 4 hours of sleep, fueling your body with junk food, and neglecting physical movement. Your body is the vehicle that carries your mind to your goals. The authors emphasize that you must time block your personal wellness just as fiercely as your professional goals. Protect your sleep, eat clean, move your body daily, and make time to emotionally recharge with the people you love. High energy leads to deep focus. The fourth and final thief is an environment that doesn't support your goals. Your environment is made up of two distinct parts: your physical surroundings and the people you choose to encircle yourself with. If your desk is in the middle of a loud, chaotic room where people constantly interrupt you, your environment is actively stealing your success. Similarly, if you are surrounded by negative, unmotivated people who constantly dismiss your ambitions, their energy will inevitably drag you down. You must actively design an environment that breeds focus. Build a physical bunker where you can work completely uninterrupted, and build a social circle of high achievers who inspire, challenge, and push you to grow. Now that we have dismantled the lies, mastered the truth, and learned how to defeat the 4 thieves of productivity, it's time to look at how we can apply these powerful lessons directly to our daily lives. The true beauty of the One Thing framework is that it isn't just for corporate executives or elite CEOs. It is a universal blueprint that can revolutionize your results regardless of your profession, age, or current stage in life. Let's look at how this applies to various paths and modern challenges. First, let's look at students and anyone tackling rigorous exam preparation. The standard student approach is often defined by frantic multitasking and brutal, late-night cramming sessions fueled by caffeine. You sit at your desk with your textbook open, but your phone is right next to you, buzzing with social media notifications, while a video plays in the background. This is a recipe for mediocrity. If you want to ace your exams while studying less, you must apply the focusing question. What is the one subject or the one core concept within this subject that I need to master today, such that by understanding it, the rest of the material becomes easier, instead of trying to study for 6 different classes superficially in one evening? Time block a dedicated 2 to 3 hour window early in the day for your most difficult subject. Turn off your phone, close all unrelated tabs, and dive completely into active recall and practice testing. By knocking down the hardest academic domino first, your attention skyrockets and your exam anxiety plummets. For programmers and software engineers, the framework is an absolute lifesaver. Coding requires immense cognitive depth and prolonged periods of uninterrupted focus. Yet, the modern tech environment is plagued by constant distractions, Slack messages, pull request reviews, stand-up meetings, and sudden bug fixes. If you are constantly jumping back and forth between writing code and answering messages, you are bleeding valuable mental energy to switch costs. As a developer, your one thing is writing clean, high-leverage logic that scales. To apply the book's core concepts, you must fiercely time block your maker time. Inform your team that you're going dark for 4 hours every morning to focus purely on core development. Build a physical or digital bunker. Close Slack, turn on Do Not Disturb, and lose yourself in the code. You will quickly find that you can write more high-quality code in those 4 focused hours than most developers produce in an entire, chaotic 40-hour workweek. For entrepreneurs, content creators, and business professionals, the temptation to do everything is the single biggest threat to survival. When you're building a business or growing a YouTube channel, you wear a dozen different hats. You are the marketer, the accountant, the customer service rep, the video editor, and a strategist. It is incredibly easy to spend your entire day putting out minor fires, leaving you completely exhausted but with zero actual business growth to show for it. You must realize that not all business activities are created equal. Use the 80-20 rule to identify your true engine of growth. If you're a content creator, your one thing might be scripting exceptionally high-quality videos. If you're an entrepreneur, your one thing might be perfecting your core product or closing high-ticket sales. Everything else, the logo design, the social media comments, the administrative paperwork, can be outsourced, automated, or delayed. Protect your morning time block for that one high-leverage task that actually drives revenue and scale. Applying this framework to your personal development and career growth follows the exact same logic. We often set 50 different New Year's resolutions. We want to learn a language, read 2 books a week, start a side hustle, and run a marathon all at once. This leads to absolute overwhelm. Instead, choose one single area of your life to revolutionize over the next 66 days. Commit to building just one success habit at a time, whether that is a morning reading routine, a daily workout, or spending an hour networking in your industry. Once that behavior becomes an automated habit, you can move on to the next domino. Of course, executing this in our modern world means confronting unique, unprecedented challenges. We are currently living through an era of extreme information overload, smartphone addiction, and a cultural obsession with hyperconnectivity. Every single app on your phone has been masterfully engineered by world-class data scientists to hijack your dopamine pathways and steal your attention. Procrastination has become an epidemic because escaping into a short-form video feed is infinitely easier than wrestling with a complex professional problem. To survive this environment, you cannot rely on sheer willpower. As we learned, your willpower battery drains rapidly throughout the day. Instead, you must actively design an environment that makes distraction impossible. When you enter your time block, put your smartphone in another room, or use apps that completely lock you out of your digital vices. Treat social media not as something you constantly check, but as a reward you earn after you have successfully knocked down your first domino for the day. You must become fiercely protective of your attention, recognizing that your focus is your most valuable financial and personal asset. We have journeyed through the core philosophies of Gary Keller and J. Papasan's masterpiece, and now we arrive at our final destination, the ultimate execution plan. Let's do a quick recap of the biggest lessons we've uncovered today. We learned that extraordinary success is not about running yourself ragged, trying to do everything. It's about finding your first 2-inch domino. We dismantled the 6 cultural lies that derail us, proving that multitasking is a myth, willpower is a depleting battery, and a perfectly balanced life is an illusion. We discovered that true, elite productivity is built on a deep foundation of purpose, driven by an immediate strategic priority and executed through fierce time blocking. The most common productivity mistake people make after consuming this information is trying to change their entire life in a single day. They try to rewrite all their habits simultaneously, only to drain their willpower battery by Tuesday afternoon and fall right back into old patterns. Do not fall into this trap. Here is your practical, immediate action plan to implement the one thing framework starting tomorrow morning. Step 1. Wake up and ask yourself the focusing question. What is the one thing I can do today such that by doing it everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Step 2. Look at your schedule and ruthlessly block out the first 4 hours of your workday to focus exclusively on that single task. Step 3. Build a bunker. Turn off your notifications, put your phone in another room, tell your colleagues or family you're unavailable, and eliminate all outside noise. Step 4. Dive deep into that single task until it is complete. Guard that time with your life. Remember, big lives are built one small, focused choice at a time. The distance between where you are right now and where you want to be in 5 years isn't a massive, insurmountable chasm. It is simply a sequential line of dominoes waiting to be tipped over. Stop looking at the entire mountain. Stop trying to juggle 100 different things to please the world. Find your first domino, bring all your passion and energy to it, and knock it down. Thank you so much for listening to this complete audiobook summary. If this message resonated with you, and you are ready to take full control of your focus, discipline, and mindset, please take a moment to like this audio, subscribe to our channel, and drop a comment below sharing the one thing you're going to focus on tomorrow morning. We are incredibly grateful to have you here at the Growth Room. This channel is entirely dedicated to bringing you the absolute best masterclasses, summaries, and frameworks from the world's most powerful books on productivity, success, wealth, mindset, and personal growth. Our mission is to provide you with the exact tools and wisdom you need to unlock your true potential and design an extraordinary life. Keep your focus narrow, guard your time fiercely, and remember that success is built one day, one habit, and one thing at a time. We will see you in the next episode right here in the Growth Room. Let's keep growing together.